Apostrophe to the Ocean. Apostrophe to the Ocean was written by George Gordon, also known as Lord Byron. It was written in the Romantic era in the summer of 1816. Being written in the summer is an important fact because we usually associate the ocean with summertime. The Romantic era, 1798 to 1832, focused mostly on nature. It wasn't about analyzing it or taming it, but inspiring poets and leading them to spiritual guidance and understanding. The Romantic period emerged as a reaction to the French Revolution. In literature, apostrophe is a figure of speech, sometimes represented by the exclamation "oh." A writer or speaker using an apostrophe detaches himself or herself from the reality and addresses an imaginary character in his speech. Lord Byron takes on apostrophe in a different and bigger form. He uses an entire poem to address the ocean. He is detaching himself from a society that takes nature for granted and abuses it, so he can praise the ocean. Lord Byron uses the apostrophe to express his love and appreciation for the ocean in his poem Apostrophe to the Ocean.
The pleasure in the pathless woods, there is a rapture on the lonely shore. There is society, where none intrudes, by the deep sea and music in its roar. I love not man the less, but nature more. From these are interviews in which I steal, from all I may be or have been before, to mingle with the universe and feel what I can ne'er express, yet cannot all conceal.
Roll on, thou deep and dark blue ocean, roll. 10,000 fleets sweep over thee in vain. Man marks the earth with ruin. His control stops with the shore. Upon the watery plain the wrecks are all I deem, nor doth remain a shadow of man's ravage, save his own, when for a moment, like a drop of rain, he sinks into thy depths with bubbling groan, without a grave, unknown, uncoffined, and unknown.
His steps are not upon thy path. Thy fields are not a spoil for him. Thou dost arise and shake him from thee. The vile strength he wields for earth's destruction thou dost all despise. Spurning him from thy bosom to the skies, and sendest him, shivering in thy playful spray, and howling to his gods where haply lies his petty hope in some near port or bay, and dashes him again to earth, there let him lay.
The armaments which thunderstrike the walls of rock-built cities, bidding nations quake, and monarchs tremble in their capitals. The oak leviathans, whose huge ribs make their clay creator the vain title take of Lord of thee, the arbiter of war. These are thy toys, and as the snowy flake, they melt into thy yeast of waves, which mar, alike the Armada's pride or spirals of Trafalgar.
Thy shores are empires changed in all save thee. Assyria, Greece, Rome, Carthage, what are they? Thy waters washed them power while they were free, and many a tyrant since. Their shores obey the stranger, slave or savage. Their decay has dried up realms to deserts. Not so thou, unchangeable, save to thy wild waves play. Time writes no wrinkle on thine azure brow, such as creation's dawn beheld, thy rollest now.
Thou glorious sphere where the Almighty's form glasses itself in tempests, in all time calm or convulsed, in breeze or gale or storm, ice in the pole or in the torrid clime, dark heaving, boundless, endless, and sublime, the image of eternity, the throne of the invisible, even from out thy slime, the monsters of the deep are made. Each zone obeys thee, thou goest forth, dread, fathomless, alone. And I have loved the ocean, and my joy of youthful sports was on thy breast to be, born, like thy bubbles, onward. From boy, wanton with thy breakers, they to me were delight, and if the freshening sea made them a terror, 'twas a pleasing fear, for I was as it were a child of thee, and I trusted to thy billows far and near, and I laid my hand upon thy mane, as I do here.
In the opening stanza, Byron expresses his love for all forms of nature. There is use of other literary devices in this stanza, as he says, "I love not man the less, but nature more." He's using a paradox. I believe the second stanza highlights his belief that man trashes the earth, but no matter what, they can't control the ocean. As he states, man marks the earth with his rune his control stops at the shore. The fourth stanza highlights that man thinks they are superior to the ocean. I believe Byron uses an allegory comparing crashing waves to the fall and defeat of the Spanish Armada. As he says, they melt into thy yeast of the waves, which mar like the Armada's pride or spoils of Trafalgar. In the last stanza, he talks about how he's always loved and respected the ocean. I believe what emphasizes Byron's love and appreciation for the ocean is because he uses the whole poem as an apostrophe. It's not just one line or a few lines. Throughout the poem, he constantly addresses the ocean as you. Here are some examples of when he addresses the ocean as you. Roll on, thou deep and dark blue ocean, roll. For earth's destruction thou dost all despise. Thy shores are empires, thou glorious mirror, where the Almighty's form glasses itself in tempest and all time, entrusted to thy billows far and here, and laid my hand upon thy mane as I do here. Thy and thou are you, the second person, you and your, back in the olden days. And for my synthesis, since 1816 there have been many advances in science, and we have learned many different things about plants and animals on Earth. But the idea that the ocean is way too big and powerful still applies today. We have analyzed and interpreted many animals in the jungles and deserts, but we have yet to discover many types of fish and species in the ocean. The idea that our control stops at the ocean still applies today.